Hey guys, welcome back. It's Grimreaper coming at you for another video for Raidshadowlegends. Hopefully doing well, and hopefully you are looking after yourselves, and hopefully you're having a great week. Brilliant result for the England game yesterday over the Dutch. Unlucky to the Dutch, and congratulations to the Dutch team. They played very well. I think England was just slightly better. So second final in two back-to-back. Hopefully not going to be another game like we did against Italy 4 years ago. Wish us luck, and yeah, let me know down in the comments actually who you rooting for, Spain or England, stuff like that. Anyway, let's get into today's video. We're going to get into something juicy. I wanted to cover this champion for a while. She made her debut on my channel a few weeks ago, actually, within a Sand Devil team about 2 weeks ago. I will ping at the end of this. Fantastic champion, and I built her slightly differently. I generally think this is the best way to build her, other than one other way, which I'll show you recently a bit later on within the video, and stuff like that. And we'll talk about this when I drop the timestamps down below. But I really wanted to cover, she's been one of the most requested champions on my channel for a very long time, which I actually haven't done it. So it's one of these reasons why I've done it for today. It's been on my radar for the past week or so. I'm talking about no other than Whisper, right? Whisper is a fantastic epic damage dealer for Hydra. If anything, she can out damage a lot of the legendaries when we're talking about damage. And we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of using Whisper in Hydra. Obviously, she's a way more accessible to grab and pretty much a little bit easier to build than other nukers that we've done videos on and stuff like that, and do some high damage. I recently covered her in a takeover as well on a account that didn't have like a lot of damage dealers, so I used her in one of them, and she really surprised me. It's just one of the reasons why I'm making this video for today. Now, if we look at her base stats, she's got some fantastic base stats overall. So she's got some good speed, quite average speed, I would say, for an epic. Good attack for epic, low HP and defense, but that is, I suppose, that is required and stuff like that. So what makes her so good then? Well, she gets so many extra turns. So she got attack, aura in the dungeons. She has a 10% chance of gaining an extra turn whenever this champion lands a critical hit. So 100% critical rate is generally needed most of the time. Increases the damage on this boss. Increases the damage inflicted on bosses by 20%, which is pretty nice. She'll attack one enemy 2 times, grants an extra turn if the target is under defense down and weaken. So you want to be using that defense down and weaken much as possible, and then you guarantee the extra turn. And then she'll attack one enemy, places increase attack and increase critical rate both on his champion for 2 turns before attacking. If the target has higher max HP than this champion, she will ignore target's defense as well if it's under weakened debuff, which is pretty juicy. I think it's 100%. Not too sure. It's not encrypted or anything in there, so I'm not too sure if that's 100% or not. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance to place a weaken, so she could put weaken out herself, which is pretty strong. Now, if you use her for ally attack, you don't have a weakening team, you can use ally attack. You would need to put some accuracy in her build. I don't actually have any accuracy in a build today because I've already got the defense down and weaken, and I have a extender as well to extend the buffs to make sure that she's always getting them extra turns, etc. So on top of Relentless, it's going to be very, very useful. And there is some other sets that we'll go into in a bit. So yeah, fantastic champion overall. So let's get into the run. I'm going to show you the run, enjoy the music, and then we're going to come back into some of the bits and bobs that we were discussed. Okay, so we're back and stuff like that. I'm gonna explain the breakdown of the team and try and give you some ideas on what can work better. Now, what happened there? I'm not too sure what happened there. That is a new one. Okay, so we have Lady M. Lady M is like a bonus champion. Okay, she is just in here for the bonus slot. And the bonus from her is the ally attack, which is very useful for a number of our champions, including Whisperer and Mishiati and Krisk as well, because Krisk is in a provoke set, which is very useful for that decreased speed as well. So ally attack is very powerful. She's also got increases the duration of debuffs on the enemies and increases our buffs as well. So it's a fantastic champion to have available, and she also has great synergy with her own faction, right? Because of that 50, I think it's a 50% chance on A1 to do a counter attack, which is fantastic. It's more damage. Now you can see here, Chris is in here. Ideally, he's in a 9-piece protection or a hex set. I don't actually have the stats to get in the hex set, right? So that's why we've got Venus in the hex set. Now, Mishi also has hex abilities as well, so you don't need like crazy. And we also needed a provoke champion. Krisk is the only AoE on A1 that has that available. Mishi could have also gone in the provoke set as well. He's very good in provoke set overall if your gear is not so endgame as mine. So Krisk is obviously in here to deal with Mischief. He's in here to deal with DK. Any of them type of champions, Marley, Thorn, with the provokes, they can do this job quite well. Even Archer Queen and stuff like that. So he is in there to do the both roles. Now, 2-Hack is in here for the block buffs, to deal with the Poison Head, to deal with Wrath's passive ability, which he puts reflection up. He's also in here for suffering as well for the reflection. So that's 2-Hack's ability. It is worth noting she's in here for the increased defense and the increased speed, which is on her A3 ability as well. And Krisk is also in a team for that. So we have 2 increased speed champions. We have 1 decreased speed champion, has a 30% chance on the A1. Now, ally attack, that's pretty consistent. Venus is in here for the defense down, weaken, hex, and the HP burns. I always try and take HP burns if you can. It's a bit undervalued because when you're using someone like 2-Hack, for example, who her block buffs is a bit situational, can be a bit of a pain to kind of try and get out all the time. The HP burn is very good against the counter attack. Against the life, right? So, and then we have Mishi. He's obviously in here for damage. He's also in here for defense down and for hex. Fantastic DPS. He's probably top 5 in a game right now for Hydra, especially if you have a good 6-star or something on him. Now, it is worth noting, Crushing Rem is only good for 6-star. I was testing out a few things a long time ago, and I won't pay 300 gems to pay it back. But you can also use, the main one would be Cruelty or maybe Nature of Wrath. Now, Whisper is in here with Phantom Touch. Again, I think you could take maybe Harvest Cast. I can't remember if that's epic or legendary, but I really like her with Phantom Touch. So I just left her with Phantom Touch. Phantom Touch obviously works with quite well with attack based champions and stuff like that. And obviously Whisper's in here for the DPS. Now, obviously using a single target nuker, if you're not aware already, we don't actually have to deal with the damage reduction passives. Now, for Mishi, for example, he has 2 AoEs on the E1. He has to deal with 2 damage reduction passive abilities, which is the same as enemy max HP passive as well. So that is the good side of her. The downside of her is pretty much Mischief, right? Mischief has this this idea of being able to reflect other people to hit other heads. Now, if you devour the champion and you try and use that, then it could be a bit of a pain. Obviously, we have other damage dealers in here. We've got 2 AoE damage dealers, so I'm perfectly fine. So try and take one in your team or something like that to save it for that type ability. You also have plenty of extra turns on her as well, especially in the gear sets that we're going to build right in today's video. And then you've also got Lady M's ally attack as well, which is really consistent. The decreased speed as well really helps slow them down when it comes to devours, and this only stopped because we literally lost Chris to RNG, right? He basically got took, the champions got sorry, the allied protection got took, and then he just basically died. So it is what it is with him. We're tanking this week for Hydra Slash, so it doesn't really matter the points I put out, but she could easily put out in 500 million team with this type of get champions and gear and stuff like that. All these champions can replace. Two Hat could be replaced with Samuel, can be replaced with Oak. There is a number of champions now that can cleanse the Truth Is off with that type ability. If you have Oak, it might actually be slightly better alternative if you could bring block buffs elsewhere and stuff like that. So it's one of the key factions there. Now, Mishi obviously is doing 43 million, right? He's got affinity against him. Whisper doesn't, and he's doing 43. He's got 2 AoEs, and she's doing 34, and she's not in any ignore defense sets. He's in a 9-piece merciless. So that is super strong. Obviously, she has a strong blessing and probably strong in stats because of the blessings, etc., which I will show you in a second. So overall, yeah, fantastic champion to kind of use. And I think with Whisper, these are the goods and bads about her, right? Obviously, if you have better champions, you're probably going to use better. But there isn't many epics or even legendaries better than Whisper, in all fairness, right? For me personally, I have Whisper comp, I have Tronda comp. That's why I don't really tend to use champions like Whisper in my account, because I do have champions like Mishi and stuff who just slightly overpower Creeper. But don't sleep on Whisper. Take this as your friendly advice. If you're trying to increase your damage, you don't have a lot of good champions, get Whisper out of the vault. She is someone I would recommend to do. It's worth noting as well, if you've got 2 hack and you're running Oak, then that's 2 ally attack champions. That's super strong, and then she'll get increased attack and stuff like that as well. Right, let me take a look at her build then as well for today, and I'll show you what's kind of going on. And I built some things a bit differently and stuff like that, and there's reasons why I've done it, which I'm going to explain in a second. So this is her build. We've gone for a 4-piece relentless, and then everything else is just broken. So we're trying to keep it pretty plain as possible. It's really noting as well, like, you want really good speed. Like 253 is on a bit of slow side now for brutal. If you can get more speed, get more speed. I would say 270, and she's going to be on her way to being even do more damage. You kind of want to take like 3 or 4 turns, whereas the boss only has like 1 or 2 turns, right? It's like a 4-3 comp kind of thing. The more speed you can get, the more damage you're going to get. The less turns they take, the more turns that you get, which is more damage, right? And also when it comes to decapitated heads, that is also another ability as well. That's why so many people now in Hydra, especially in high-end Hydra teams, are trying to do significant amount of damage. That's why my kid Trixie has nearly got 300 speed, right? With these type of stats in like Savage and Cruel. So as you can see, her attack is slightly a bit low for the comp. She's at 6,760. Now again, higher attack is recommended. If you can go towards 7,000, fantastic. We've got speed of 253. Again, we were just talking about speed. Speed is one of the things that you start pumping up after you got the damage, especially depending where you are in the game. If you're like super ultra end game player like I am, then you can easily get his stats, or probably even better, right? I can get better stats than this. We've got critical damage coming in at 317 critical damage. And then you can also build accuracy. I've chosen not to because of that. And then you can also get the ignore defense from the Great Hall. Now, I only have 12 because at the moment I'm currently doing Curse City with my live arena medals. But, you know, a 12% ignore defense is fantastic. HP, you want generally good HP and defense so you can heal. So why have I gone with 100% critical rate while she has a 30% critical rate buff? I think this is a very personal opinion on when you go with 70 or 100. I personally went 100 because with the relentless and the extra turns within a kit, I found her going a lot without extra turn. With the critical rate. I don't want to see her get weak hits or not being crit capped for them hits, and I have 2 debuff extenders in there as well. She just outruns the debuff extension, so that is my main reason. I have her in 100% critical rate. I also have increased attack in my team as well, so I'm not too reliant on her buffs as well. As you can see, my stats are pretty good as well overall. So what we're going with then, we've got attack banner with speed, we've got critical damage, attack ring with attack ring, speed boots with ascended attack and critical rate. We've got attack chest with critical rate again as well. And then we have critical damage with ascended attack and critical damage. And then looking for, critical rate and then attack as well. And then we're looking for speed, critical damage, critical rate on the piece at the top, or attack substat as well. As you can see, these stats are very, very god tier and generally going in. Now, we spoke about a couple of blessings with her. I generally do like Phantom Touch on her. Maybe Cruelty could be a way to go as well, or Harvest Cast and stuff like that. Let me know down in the comments if you want to see a video on her just for me testing out the blessings with the same gear. I'm kind of curious if you guys really care so much about the blessing, or let me know down in the comments what would you generally try as well. Obviously, if you got 6-star, I think it's all day push and rem, and I don't think Natural Wrath is any good because she only has a week on the new one, so it's one of the abilities. So for the masteries, we've actually gone with deterrence because I wanted to do her A1 much as possible, and retribution. If she gets true feared, she gets true feared. In a day I'm running 2 hack that does cleanse off most of the abilities, and we also have the A2 on Mishi on Lady M as well to kind of deal with that. And then after that, I just kind of went in with Cycle of Violence, Life Drinker for the healing, and then War Master because she generally does ignore 100% defense on her A2. I believe it's 100% from what I'm reading. So that means that House Smasher wouldn't be so consistent. I am going to say in a second which would be the other set that you can build as well. After this, then I would probably, I think the better set on her would actually be 9-piece Merciless, right? I don't actually have a good banner, which is why we didn't go for 9-piece Merciless. But 9-piece Merciless will also give a 50% chance of getting an extra turn. Now, Relentless is a 18% chance of getting an extra turn. So it's only 3% you lose. You will ignore 35% target defense, which would be actually a really good for the A2. Sorry, for the A3 and the A1. The A2, it wouldn't do anything, right? Especially if it's 100 ignore defense anyway. That is when I'd probably think about changing the masteries to go Helm Smasher if you see the A2 and the A1 proccing all the time. And then you could also maybe build 70% critical rate out as well if you are getting the cooldown abilities as well, because you get a 30% chance of getting a random cooldown that might work out to be more consistent for the critical rate. But this is something you would need to test and hopefully get the stats at iBot as well. I think it's worth taking the high speed over the 9-piece set overall. So as you can see here, we do have a 9-piece set here on Mishi, and that's pretty overpowering for Hydra. Probably even Arena would be as well, but he's obviously not Arena champion. So that's about it for today's video. It is worth noting about 30% of my viewers right now are not subbed to my channel, so I'd really appreciate if you can hit that sub button, especially if you enjoyed today's video. And yeah, anyway, that's about it. Make sure you drop me comments down below of any champions you want to see at Champion Showcase next for Hydra or for Arena. Really curious to kind of see what's going on. Make sure you hit that thumbs up on the button on as well down below. And if you're interested in any takeovers or in any advice, my links are in the Discord down below. Sorry, in the comments down below. You can also go check them out. My price list is in Discord, so you don't need to contact me to see my price list. It's all there as well with a couple of reviews as well. And that's about it. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe. I've been Grim Reaper. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.